Hey there, and welcome to today's video. For today's video, we have a bit of an odd one. I actually went into Sims to record something completely different, and looking around my world and seeing what I wanted to build, I ended up realizing that I had this one lot that was unfinished. So I decided to go into it and see what exactly it was. Now, this was a build that I had done years back, and it was sort of trying to figure out a different layout for an existing apartment. So I decided for this week, instead of doing the build I was originally going to do, why don't I actually just take this as a sort of a shell challenge? Now, the thing with this unit in particular, it was going to be that even though it's supposed to be an apartment, I'm going to treat it as if it was a house, make it look as if it was a house from the outside, while keeping in mind this is actually an apartment. So what I mean by that is I can't change where the doors are for the outside, so the entry door and the door for the balcony, and I can't change where the windows are. So with that in mind, I decided to go ahead and try to build something, but not make it a realistic renovation, let's put it that way. In this case, it was a matter of I can put the bathrooms wherever I want, I can put the bedrooms wherever I want, and I can put the kitchen wherever I want. I don't have to worry about load bearing walls or about where plumbing is or anything like that. But as an added challenge, I did not turn move objects on. And let me tell you, I don't do this often, so it was so hard to actually build in a way that made sense. There were so many spaces that I thought felt really empty and I wanted to put just a decorative plant or something. But without having move objects on, you are very restricted when it comes to building. I can see why a lot of people have a lot of challenges, especially when you're playing Sims on console. It is really difficult to be able to get items where you want them to without having the ability to use move objects. So kudos to anyone that does regular builds on console and does not get frustrated by this. Then again, I do suppose it's a bit different if you're used to building for PC and then all of a sudden you're trying to build without using move objects. Now, not everyone uses cheats and I recognize that, and it's really not necessary to be able to make a good house. It just makes it that much harder since you're so restricted. As I mentioned, there were a lot of times where all I wanted it for was just to fill a blank space, and I couldn't even do that. So it definitely makes you get a lot more creative. As for the style of the house, I accidentally ended up going for a lot of blacks and blues. I feel like it's my default in a house, and it's probably because I like the color blue, but I'm not too sure if it's just my bias or if that's because those are the colors that you're actually able to get some decent ones out of in Sims. Because if you look at the greens, for example, they're all different shades. You can't really find a green that has a matching wallpaper. At least not one that is a bit more on the darker side. And the same with the purples. Oranges I feel like are a bit too aggressive depending on how much you use of it. I like yellows a lot as well, but it really depends on the type of house that I'm trying to build. As for the house itself, originally this apartment was only a one bedroom, one bathroom. So what I did instead was I made it a one bedroom, one den, which I used to put the office into it. And then I made the full bathroom a master bathroom, and I added a half bath. Now, the thing with Sims is you don't need to think about storage. So, while there are dressers and there are a lot of things to put stuff into, there isn't an actual closet where you could put the seasonal stuff, whether it's coats or whether it's just your air conditioner that you're putting away for the winter. So, while I really like this layout and I really like the house in general, I don't think it would actually work IRL just because you really don't have a lot of storage. And outside, for example, I put a barbecue, and at least where I live, that's not something you're allowed to do unless there's already a direct gas line to the balcony to plug in a barbecue. You can't do anything like charcoal or wood burning, so in my mind, this was an electric barbecue. As for decorating itself, though, I found this to be such a challenge. Since I couldn't add additional windows, I felt like there were a lot of windows that felt like they were missing something, that like they would have been perfect to put a window there. But that is not something you can just up and do in an apartment, so I decided to play by the rules and not add any additional windows, What I did do though that you probably saw at the beginning was I changed the color of the windows, which in a real apartment you can't change the outside color. I'm not too sure if you can change the inside color, but if it's your own apartment, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. And the doors are something that I feel like you would be able to change as well. There are condo fees some of the times, and it depends on like what you're allowed to change and what you're not allowed to, but I tried to make it as realistic as possible as I could. For the outside, this was a bit more of a challenge, since again, this is supposed to be part of an apartment, but I wanted it to look as if it was just a house that has very few windows. So what I did was I tried to use a lot of landscaping to get around that. And again, the issue with not being able to turn on move objects. How do people do any landscaping without being able to turn this on? I did my best, tried to fill it up. There were a lot of items that actually had the ability to overlap other items, which while I didn't turn on move objects, I did do a lot of alt placement. I'm not sure if that is something that is allowed for console players, but I don't really see it moving stuff around if you didn't have move objects on. You should be able to download this the way it is without needing to turn anything on, and it should still work. So I found that I was able to fill up the space well enough without just going ahead and opening up the balcony or putting a pool out there or something, since that wouldn't really be realistic in a building. But at the end of the day, you can still tell that there aren't windows from the outside. You can still tell that there are things missing. But as I said, I did give it my best shot, and I think it actually ended up working out pretty well. There is no need to test this one since there isn't move objects on. Everything should work the way it is. I did, however, still go through and make sure that everything worked before uploading it to the gallery. But anyways, we are close to the end of the video, so let me know what you think of this video down below. Do you think I actually succeeded in making an apartment look more like a house? I'm not too sure about that, but I can tell you that I'm happy with the way the layout turned out. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great weekend.